What do you mean by crocodile mouth letters? There is no such thing in Tajweed, and you would be correct to question me. Now, this is only a term that I use to teach kids and adults who are confused by these weird looking characters. Take a look at the last one which I just circled. Let's expand this. And the shape is, what I see is a top bit, which to me looks like the top part of a crocodile's head. And we have a bottom bit, which to me looks like the bottom part or the mouth of a crocodile. And we have a dot here and a dot there. Now, if we were to rewrite this in a different format, it would have been written in a more traditional way, which is this and this, with the dots going to be the same place. And you may now recognize these letters as Noon and Jim, at least the short form letters. And this lesson you will find in Ahsanul Qawaid, I believe it's page 6, lesson 3. And more advanced in the same book, I think this is on page 25, lesson 17, you may find full words like these. Okay, let's take one, for example, here. And this could have been written in a different way. This would have been Noon, Jim, and Ba. So Noon, Dhamma, Jim with a kasra, and Ba with sukun. And now you can read it as Nujib. But of course, they have chosen to do the funny first part, which is this shape. Okay, Noon, Jim, okay, and then with the Ba and the Sukun. So that's all it is. And inshallah, today I'm going to teach you how to read all of these once and for all. In a minute, we're going to do some practical examples. Right now, let me show you my foolproof 4 easy step method to read any of these characters in the future. Step number 1, I want you to either imagine, or if you can't imagine, draw a cross on your character. Don't worry if you have to draw at the beginning. Later on, inshallah, you won't need to do this. This is going to lead you to step number 2, and you can now have 4 different sections. But instead of calling them 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to say there are 2 top parts, okay, and 2 bottom parts. And also, you're going to have 2 right sides and 2 left sides. This is clear? And now we move to step number 3. You're going to read the top letter with the right dot, if any. In this example, we have the top letter here and the right dot here. And last but not least, step number 4, you're going to read the bottom letter and left dot, if any. So in this case, this is our bottom letter and this is our left dot. Don't worry, it looks confusing. We're going to do some practical examples, and also I've said if any, and that will become clear later, inshallah. We're not going to make it bigger so you don't get confused. So step number 1, I'm going to draw an imaginary cross. Step number 2, identify the 4 sections. So I know here is my top right, here is my top left, here is my bottom right and bottom left. Step number 3, I'm going to read my top letter and my right dot. So we have this shape. And step number 4, bottom letter and left dot. So we have this shape. As a general rule, the top letter is going to be most of the time one of the following 5 letters. You have Ba, Ta, Tha, Nun, or Ya. So the shape is going to be the same, and the placement of the dot and the number of dot should tell you whether it's going to be a Nun or difference with a Ya, for example. Likewise, for the bottom letter, we're going to apply the same principle that the bottom letter most of the time is going to be one of the following 3 letters, Jim, Ha, or Kha. And likewise, same shape and placement and number of dot. Actually, this only has 1 dot anyway, or the lack of dot should tell you the difference between a Jim or a Kha or a Ha if there is no dot. Now let's do some examples. So step 1, we are going to draw our imaginary cross. Step 2, we're going to identify our 4 sections. So we have a top right and a top left, a bottom right and a bottom left. Step number 3, I'm going to read my top letter with my right dot, and this looks like this shape, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be Noon. And step number 4, I'm going to read the bottom letter with the left dot, if any, and this looks like this shape. So this is again going to be Jim. In this example, I've changed the dot number and location as well. So step number 1, we are going to do our imaginary cross. Step number 2, I want to identify my top right section, my top left, bottom right, and bottom left. Step number 3, I'm going to read my top letter with my right dots. So we have this and 2 dots here. This to me looks like it should be that one. So we have a ya. And step number 3, I've got my bottom letter with my left dot. So we've got this. And that looks to me, it should be a kha. So ya and kha. Easy peasy. Okay, one last example. This time we are going to put 3 dots here and no dot on the other side. So again, step 1, we've already got our cross. Step 2, we have our 4 sections. Step 3, I'm going to read my top letter with my right dots. This time we have this shape, and to me that looks like it should be tha. So this is tha. And last but not least, step number 4, I'm going to read my bottom letter with a left dot if any. There are no dots this time, and to me this looks like it should be here. So that's ha. So tha and ha. I hope this is clear, inshallah. Now let's do some practical steps. This time I've removed the colors, but I'm going to leave the table on the board for now. So the first example, it looks like to me my top letter should be this, and my right dot or 2 dots at the top here, and that looks like it should be a ta. Okay, that's my first letter. And the next one, it looks like my bottom letter is here with a dot at the top. So bottom letter and the left dot is at the top there, and that looks like it should be kha. So the letters are ta and kha. Next example, we have the first top letter and the right dots this time are at the bottom, and that looks like it should be ya. And then my bottom letter and left dot is at the bottom. So bottom letter is this shape, left dot at the bottom, and it looks like it should be jim. So ya jim. And last but not least, my top letter is here, my right dot is there, so that looks like it should be noon. Okay, and we have last my bottom letter, this shape, and there are no dots, so that I know now it's going to be ha. And I hope you are able to get this right. If you can't, just pause it, go back and do the lesson yourself without looking at the video and see if you get this right. And now let's move to a more difficult one. Last but not least, we go back to Ahsanul Qawaid. This is on page 25, lesson 17. Let's do these words. So first stop, we have that. So what do we have here? Here, easy peasy. We have a dot here, a fatha, a dot here, a sukoon, and a kasratain here. Now this is simply our funny shape, okay, with a sin and kasratain. So we know that is going to be, so first letter here, that's a ba, and next here, that's a kha. So how do you read this? This is bakhsin, bakhsin. Next we have this. So this is one of the exceptions we talked about, where the first letter is actually something else, but not to worry, we are going to do that. Now, if you pay attention, this is our first letter, which is nothing to do with our crocodile mouth. So what we're interested in is this bit here. Okay, so that is this shape. Ba with a sukoon and kha with a fatha. And at the beginning, we have that. So this is ya, dhamma, you. Ba with a sukoon, yub. Kha with a fatha, yubkha, and then you have su and na, so yubkhasuna, yubkhasuna. Next we have this. Our first bit is our funny shape, a dot here, a fatha here, a dot here, and a kasra here. So I know that this is going to be ba fatha and then kha kasra, so bakhi and then lu, bakhilu. Now if you wanted to rewrite this, obviously you could have just written it this way, bakhilu. That would have made more sense. Next, we have another example of a starting letter, not a crocodile mouth, but that's fine. So we have two dots here, we have a fatha, a dot here, a sukoon, a dot here, and a fatha, and a dhamma. So how do we read this? Same principle. First we have, this is a ya with a fatha, and then we have our crocodile mouth bit. Okay, so we have that, a dot here and a sukoon, a dot here and a fatha. So this is ba with a sukoon and kha with a fatha. So ya ba kha. Okay, and last but not least is lu. So you could have written it as yab kha lu, yabakhalu. Okay, now we have the fourth one, alif fatha, crocodile mouth. This is noon and a jim. We have ya and na and kaf and mim. First off, we have alif fatha a, easy peasy. Okay, then we have this funny shape. So that is a crocodile mouth. We have a dot here with a sukoon, a dot here with a fatha. So alif fatha, noon sukoon, an. Jim fatha, ja. But after jim, we have here ya. So ya with a sukoon. So jim fatha, ya sukoon, jay. An, jay. And then we have noon fatha alif, na. An, jay, na. And then we have, last but not least, kaf, dhamma, mim sukun, kum. Anjaynakum, anjaynakum. And on the noon sakin here, we'll do a bit of ikhfa. Anjaynakum. Now for the last 5 words, you can do this as an exercise yourself by writing them out and breaking them down, but I will just read them for you. So we have noon fatha, jim sukun, naj, ain fatha, a, naj'a, lam, dhamma, lu, naj'alu. Next, we have noon fatha na, jim fatha waw sukun jaw, najaw, ta fatha ta, najawta. Next, we have noon fatha, jim sukun naj, with a bit of qalqala on the jim, naj. Then za or zay, kasra, ya sukun zi, so long vowel, naj, zi, and then ha, kasra, hi, najzihi. Next, we have noon, dhamma, nu, jim, kasra, ba sukun jib, ba qalqala jib, nujib. And last but not least, let's do this one. So first of all, we have waw fatha, alif lam sukun, and this alif, it is not read, it is just written, so we can kind of ignore this if we want. So it's waw fatha, alif lam sukun wal. Then we have alif kasra, and our funny shape, the first bit, this is noon sukun. So alif kasra, noon sukun, in, wal in, wal in. Okay, then we have our next funny shape. We have this with a dot here and a kasra, and after this we have a ya sukun. So jim kasra ya sukun ji, so wal in ji. Now on the noon sakin here we do ikhfa, so 2 beats of gunna, wal in ji. And then finally this last one, lam fatha, is la, wal in ji la. Now notice sometimes some people will make a mistake on the lam here, they will bounce it, they will say wala in, wala in. No, it's wal, no bouncing, wal in ji la, and ikhfa on the noon. And inshallah, I hope this is now clear. Okay, last but not least, we are going to do some exceptions which you may come across in the Quran. You may find, for example, a word which looks like this, okay? Like a fatha here, dot here, fatha here, fatha here. Okay, and as you've noticed, the first letter is not in that shape, rather it's in this shape. Okay, so not a problem, same principle apply. So we could break this down further. We could say, okay, that's the funny shape one, and then we have a ra. So fatha here, dot here, fatha here, and ra here. And how do we read this? So this will be read as first shape here with a fatha, so top letter, and there are no dots this time, and a fatha. So we know that is a ha, okay? And then the next one, we have funny shape, a dot here with another fatha. So that we know this to be a jim fatha. So ja, ha, ja. And then we have ra. So ha, ja, ra. And that is it, inshallah. From now on, you should be able to read almost any letter or combination of letter or words in the qaaedahs or Quran that you find. Remember that this is just one way that it is written. In some scripts it is not written in this confusing way, but it's good that you learn to recognize the difficult ones so you can read from any script, inshallah. So that was my crocodile mouth letter lesson, which a lot of people have been asking for, and I've taught this to many kids and many adults who were confused at the beginning, but inshallah with this method you will never ever be confused again, inshallah. So thank you so much for watching. You know what to do: like, subscribe, and go check out my other videos on the channel, inshallah.